Have you ever wondered what happens inside your body when you stop eating? Is it healthy? And if so, how long should you fast? By the end of this video, we'll have answers to these questions. There are a few things we know for sure in medicine. One is that laughter is the best medicine, and the other is that many chronic diseases, which aren't caused by infections or genetics, are linked to insulin resistance. This happens when your body's cells become less responsive to insulin, which circulates in your bloodstream. To compensate, your pancreas produces more insulin, which eventually leads to higher blood pressure, triglycerides, cholesterol levels, prediabetes, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Insulin resistance is often the result of consuming processed foods that are high in added sugar and low in fiber. Over time, this leads to a worsening cycle of insulin resistance. An effective way to lower insulin is by fasting. When you stop eating, insulin levels drop significantly, which is beneficial. However, that's not the full picture. Many people try caloric restriction diets where they eat fewer calories. Initially this can work, but they often regain the weight after a couple of months. With fewer calories, your liver ramps up the enzyme AMP kinase, promoting the creation of new mitochondria and autophagy, programmed cell death, where damaged cells are broken down and recycled. While this sounds great, the problem arises when leptin levels drop too low. Leptin, the hormone that regulates hunger, plummets within 24 hours of not eating, leading to hunger, irritability, and weakness. Your body then enters energy-saving mode, like a phone on low battery. It's also important to recognize that not all calories are equal. 2,000 calories from unprocessed foods like avocados, broccoli, and quinoa are vastly different from 2,000 calories from processed foods like pizza and donuts. Processed foods disrupt hunger hormones and don't provide lasting fullness, making caloric restriction diets difficult to sustain. This is where intermittent fasting comes in. Instead of restricting calories, you limit the time during which you eat. This approach is less painful and allows the same beneficial metabolic processes to occur without causing a severe drop in leptin levels. With intermittent fasting, you're also generating ketones, which happens on a low-carb or ketogenic diet. However, it's important to avoid extreme ketone levels, as this can lead to dangerous conditions like starvation ketoacidosis. That said, moderate ketone levels have been linked to several health benefits, including weight loss, improved blood glucose control, reduced inflammation, better stress tolerance, anti-aging effects, and even a decreased risk of cancer and heart disease. Interestingly, these benefits can also be achieved by eating unprocessed foods. When you avoid processed foods and focus on intermittent fasting, you improve insulin sensitivity and balance hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin. Ghrelin levels decrease when eating unprocessed foods or following intermittent fasting, making it easier to manage hunger. There are different ways to practice intermittent fasting. One of the most popular and practical methods is time-restricted feeding. For example, you might eat between noon and 8 p.m., focusing on unprocessed foods during that time. The less processed sugar you consume, the better. Combining intermittent fasting with unprocessed foods can turbocharge fat burning. You can further enhance this by keeping carbs low and adding exercise to the mix. Not all carbs are equal either. There are good and bad starches. Amylose, found in whole grains and legumes, digests slowly, while amylopectin, found in processed foods like bread and pasta, digests quickly, leading to faster glucose absorption. Eating whole, unprocessed grains with fiber and protein helps slow down digestion and glucose absorption, which is beneficial for your health. If 16 hours of fasting seems too intense, you can start with a 12-hour fast and gradually work your way up. It might take a few weeks for your hunger hormones to balance out, but remember, you're aiming for a lifestyle change, not a crash diet. Studies have shown that various forms of intermittent fasting can be effective for weight loss, with an average loss of 7 to 11 pounds over 10 weeks, similar to caloric restriction diets, but more sustainable. The darkest secret of intermittent fasting is that you don't necessarily need to do it if you simply avoid processed foods. By eating unprocessed food, especially low-carb options, you can achieve the same benefits without fasting. However, combining intermittent fasting with unprocessed foods can maximize health benefits and improve metabolic health. What about women and intermittent fasting? While there are concerns about hormonal imbalances, there are no definitive studies on human women. Some old animal studies hinted at potential issues, but the evidence is far from conclusive. For most women, time-restricted eating, like 16-8 or 14-10 fasting, is unlikely to cause problems, especially when paired with unprocessed foods. Certain superfoods, like ground flaxseed and maca powder, can also promote hormonal balance. If you're serious about intermittent fasting, explore other methods like alternate day fasting in more detail. Thanks for watching. Make the background music upbeat.